Are you ready to learn? Because my super experienced guests are ready to share some really valuable information. Make sure and listen all the way to the end to get help and support. So let's start with the best audio experience.
Hello guys, welcome to our show. Today we discuss about supply chain optimization, how you can optimize your supplies. I know it's important. I remember from my experience when I had my online shop. That was terrible organization. So that's why I'm interested to learn more about that. Today I can help many big shops to go ahead, and we have this issue, still have this issue with optimization and supply chain. I'm so excited to learn this topic with Jean-Baptiste. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. Very nice. Very happy to be here. And thank you for the invitation, Natalie.
Yeah, it's a big pleasure. I want to learn more about that. Jean, before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, background, and why you decided to share with us about this topic.
Sure. So my name is Jean-Baptiste. I'm CEO and co-founder of Flowlity. I did all my career in the supply chain planning space, worked for several companies in that space. And across the years, I saw that there was a big issue on inventory and inventory management. There is just too much inventory in the supply chain, and there is too many stockouts. And this issue is not really solved. Every year, it's about $2 trillion that is lost because of bad inventory management, either because you have too much inventory or not enough. So what we did is that we created a software, a SaaS solution to tackle specifically that issue, optimize the inventories, having the right amount of stock at each point in the supply chain. And we do that with artificial intelligence and apply mathematics, basically. So that's us in a nutshell.
Okay, can you tell more about your software? For example, many companies have their software or use some standard formats. Is it possible to unite and integrate data to your software and optimize the process?
Yes. So we are a forecasting and inventory optimization and replenishment software. So what we do is that we plug ourselves on top of an existing ERP, for example, I don't know, SAP, for example, or Oracle, whatever. We integrate all the past historical information, so all the past inventory movements, how much went out or came in, for example, a warehouse. We learn on all this data, all the data that is in the ERP, and then what we do is that we do a forecast of how much is going to be going out of the warehouse in the future. And then based on all the uncertainties of demand and supply, we try to assess what is the right amount of inventory to keep to reduce as much as we can the shortages. And that's basically what we do. And this inventory buffer, we are going to adjust it every day. And by doing that, we will be much more efficient in terms of inventory management. So that's us in a nutshell.
Yeah, and for example, I found when you are trying to adapt or use something new, it takes time to teach people, teams, how to use it. Can you tell your process, how you can help others to learn more about software? What kind of tutorials you have? Is it simple to use or it's not friendly? But any insights about that?
Yeah, no, sure. So first, we work mostly with big companies, companies that have already quite some data and that already have an ERP. And we do projects. So the first thing that we are going to do is doing an integration project to make sure that we have right pipes, so the right data flows in between the existing ERP and their forecast and our products. And that will take us, depends on the customer, but 6 weeks, 2 months, something like that. We will also integrate all the historical data. So everything that happened in the past 4 years, 5 years, we integrate also that. And we start training our models. And what we do is then we deliver a first version of our recommendation and the product to the key users and to the users of our customers, and they start assessing the replenishment, whether some, for 80% it's good, and maybe for 20% we need some tweaking, some adjustments, some parameterization, and we do that for about 4-6 weeks, and then we are live. So usually there is a project that lasts about 3 to 4 months, something like that, in between the time we start and the time it's lively used in a production environment for our customer. And yeah, that's how it's all. And so what we did in terms of UX and UI, we invested a lot in trying to build something that is actually very intuitive to use, very simple, and we are very proud to have a user manual that nobody is ever opening, because it's normally self-explanatory. They can click and they find their way, and that's the philosophy that we are trying to push. And yeah, so we do a little bit of let's say help at the beginning when we give the application, but there is no formal training, because we think that there's no need for it. It's quite intuitive.
Yeah, nice, believable, love it. Okay, I have the question about you mentioned this number, how many companies can waste money because of their own optimization, or their own process. So can you tell why companies waste this money? Because of manual activity, because of any insights about it, and how software can save this money? And because for example, for me, it's more important not to earn more. It's more important to save, because when you save, you can invest this money to different projects. Yeah.
Yes. So first, the problem has not been always that big. It has been a growing issue. If we look at the numbers, we can see that in the past 15 years, average inventory value has been increased by 32%. So inventory days of inventory. So we have more inventory, and it's true across all industries, and we have more shortages at the same time. And we are all seeing that in drugs. We see that it's increasing a lot in automotive parts, and a lot of things. So basically, we are facing a worsening situation. And why is that? It's because we have supply chains that are more complex, more widespread across the world, but also the product portfolios are bigger, the number of suppliers are bigger, and there is also everything being interconnected. When there is a disruption somewhere, it's kind of shake all the chain. And that's what leads us to speak about a world that we call VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous for the supply chain world. And so in that context, in a very volatile and uncertain world, it's quite hard to predict how much you will need of a certain inventory, how much you will keep to face the uncertainty. And that has not always been the case. If we come back 30 years, 40 years in the past, things were quite predictable. It was the MRP model, so you were kind of guessing how much you would sell, and you would do some kind of calculations, and you would get how much you would need to replenish. But in the new context, in the new world, with a lot of uncertainty, that doesn't work anymore. And so we need new kind of algorithm, new kind of tooling to assess what are the uncertainties and to hedge the risks with the right amount of inventory all across the chain. And it's very hard for companies to do that. It's certainly it's not something you can do well with Excel files, basically. So it's very limited. And if you want to go for more performance, you need something more performant to achieve that.
Yeah, I opened your LinkedIn profile, and I like your quote: simplified, synchronized, and reinvented. So yeah, why not? Can you tell about unique case? For example, when I create marketing campaigns, I usually analyze each case, because, for example, even two companies can sell the same products, but all of them can have their unique selling proposition, methods, why customers love them. So we consider customers and create marketing campaigns. But when we are talking about supply chain, I think companies can have different approaches, different products. Some, for example, some companies can sell cheap products, but a lot. Some can sell expensive products. Any insights? How you consider unique? I mean, that the companies are different, products are different, methods are different. How you can analyze all this information and to optimize the process? For example, if companies have the process.
Yeah. I mean, of course, supply chains are very diverse in between a retailer, a manufacturer, or a utility company. It's going to be very different processes and very different supply chains. And in the supply chain, you have the supply chain planning, which is really the science of knowing what needs to flow where in the chain. And supply chain planning is also very different if you tackle production or procurement or distribution. So you have to focus, and it's you cannot do everything basically. Of course, SAP is saying that they can do everything, but if you're not SAP, you cannot do everything. So you have to focus on something that you need to specialize on. On our side, we are very specialized for manufacturing companies to optimize their raw materials and components parts. So it's really about trying to guess and trying to have the right amount of raw materials or of components so that it doesn't stop the production processes. And we are getting very good at it because we are very focused on this one, and there are some certain specifics on this that we are tackling well. But yeah, it's a very large diversity of topics in the supply chain, even though the theory and the concepts are a bit the same for everybody. But the devil is in the details, and in the end, there is different needs, different objectives, and goals for different companies and different topics.
Nice. Yeah, I love it because I think if you don't focus, it's hard to get results, because I see when companies are trying to cover a lot, but have limited resources. I think anyone has limited resources, but you need to focus on the right direction to know your customer. And in marketing, we have an interesting quote: if you sell to anyone, you sell to no one. So if you don't focus, it's hard to help anyone. If you have resources, if you have a big team, smart team, yeah, you can. But even big companies, they focus. Even Apple, Samsung, they have their focus. On your LinkedIn, I found that you shared information about ChatGPT. So I think it's hot topic today. Many discuss about ChatGPT. I played a lot with that. I know that many people, love playing with ChatGPT. I can't tell that ChatGPT can create complete text, but it can save my time. When I optimize and creating something. So can you tell how do you use ChatGPT? And probably you can unite with your product or no. ChatGPT, it's impossible right now to unite because they have no API. But what do you think about this tool?
Of course, when this has hit us, everybody and probably every business owner has been thinking, how does it impact my business, and how can I use this kind of new things to make my business more performant? For us at Fluidity, in the product we sell, I don't see too much value. It's not clear. I think it's not that clear. But on how we execute our business, that there is a lot of value. I'm thinking, for example, about sales activity, how to reach customer, how to create already mail templates, how to create specific argumentations to convince a customer. I'm thinking about marketing materials. For all those things, it's going to be helping a lot. On the product we do, forecasting, it's AI, but it's different kind of AI. So it's I don't see the connection yet, but maybe someday it will improve also the experience. We have to stay open-minded on this one.
Okay, your predictions. Do you think this tool or any AI tool will change or even not change, will replace experts in one day or not? Because, it's a hot discussion.
Replace, no. Change, yes, definitely. What we see, for example, with our product is, for most companies we're working with, there is a situation before and after Fluidity. Before, they have an ERP, they have SAP, and they spend a lot of time on Excel files trying to figure out, how to change things, how to make it better. It's very time consuming, and the results are very different in between the different users. There are the good ones that are very good, and there are also a lot of people that are very bad or average. And so what we see with Fluidity is that we are going to automate 80% of the work, and we are going to make sure that those people are focusing on something that is very important, where there is a lot of value that is going to be provided. And they are going to shift their time on other tasks. For example, spend more qualitative time with their suppliers, trying to reinforce the relationship, or thinking ahead about scenarios, how to de-risk, how to think about this critical component, and how can we make sure that we have a different supplier, this kind of thing. And that is valuable. And also we see a lot of time that is spent also on ensuring data quality also. This is really important. So on our very modest and limited experience, that's what we see. We don't see a replacement of the tasks, and we see a shift in the work.
Yeah. Susan, I believe she's from French. Yeah, I connected her on LinkedIn, and yeah, of course, my pets usually take part on my live streams. I don't know how to close this door to avoid all silence. But yeah, that's okay, So, but I found that, for example, when I listen to audio podcast with Gary Vee, he doesn't care a lot about the sound, because he thinks more about value. Now, when you share value as maximum as possible,
Yes.
it's more important than anything else.
Yes.
But if you have the best sound, but value is not good, I'm not sure it's a good idea. Okay. Jean, I have the question about how to monitor that anything is fine in supply chain. For example, companies have the process, it works, they sell, they get new products, but how to analyze that it's, how to improve the process, how to get much better results. Yeah.
On that side, we are we are a bit lucky, because we're working on very quantifiable topics. So what we look at is, we look at the past, and we looked on how many shortages a company experienced with what was the amount of inventory they had in the past. So it's very Cartesian, study. You look at the past, and then what we do is we simulate on the future, and we look at the projection of inventories, and we look at the number of stockouts, and you look at the difference. And so you can clearly express and show to the customers, this is the situation before, this is the situation after, that's the difference, and that's how much it costs you. So it's pretty analytical and pretty easy in our case. And that doesn't mean that we are also providing value that are on top of that. So the human experience, the alerts, the easiness of work, of working on important things first. That's also part of the value we provide. But we have also this part that is very quantifiable and analytical, and that we can easily quantify and assess.
Okay, how to consider that For example, something can be different. Okay, I predict that delivery will be in 2 days, but many things can happen, like for
Yeah.
3 days, a week, because of the weather, because of many other insights.
Yes.
So, how to consider that we have some unpredictable events?
Yeah, it's really good. So the first thing that you have to know is that when you do a replenishment, when you pass an order to the supplier, you cannot do it for tomorrow usually. And there is what we call a frozen period. So I don't know. For example, the next order that you will place is to be received in 10 days. So that means that you cannot place an order from today to be received tomorrow. You have to wait for 10 days. So that's the first thing. So the question that we are trying to answer is, what is the best quantity to replenish in 10 days? And we have to be forecasting what are all the uncertainties that are going to happen in those 10 days. As you assume correctly, there is two types of uncertainties: uncertainty in the demand and uncertainty on the supply. Uncertainty on the demand is, how much will you sell or consume compared to reality. This is very classical. You do a forecast on how much you will sell, and you will also try to assess what is going to be the likelihood that you will sell less or more. And what we do is what we call probabilistic forecasting. So we assess and we give a probability to any kind of demand quantity in the future. It's the first thing. And in the past, and for the supply part, which is the second side of the uncertainty, is actually what is the likelihood that when I'm ordering for today, that the customer or the supplier is going to deliver on today versus the fact that he will have a delay of 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. And we do the same thing. We do a probabilistic forecast of what is going to be the delay of the supplier. Those probabilities on the demand and the supply is going to give us a probability of a shortage. And what we will do is an optimization that we will try to we just do an optimization that will make sure that we find the right amount of inventory to make sure that we cover a certain probability not to be in a shortage. And that's what we call a buffer stock, safety stock. And we'll adjust that safety stock on a daily basis to make sure that we are going to be providing performance.
Yeah, got it. Okay, let's talk about common mistakes. Can you list mistakes that companies still do in supply chain and how to find a much better way?
So first, supply chain is still a world that is not very digitized. So we are still at the Stone Age in the supply chain world. A vast proportion of companies are still using Excel files to their planning. Inventory optimization is a thing at a very rare set of companies. So we're still at the Stone Age. So a lot of things to be done and a lot of things to be digitized. If you look, for example, at the amount of digitization that happened in the CRM, the sales, or the marketing space, this has not yet happened in the supply chain space. There is still no supply chain SaaS that we all know about and that is very famous, right? So it's a space that didn't, where the digitization it didn't happen yet. And yeah, so that's the first thing. So I would say that there is a lot of room to improve on that side in the future. So to come back on the mistake or on the issue, I think to be able to deploy valuable SaaS software, what the first thing that the companies needs to do is to have mastery and cleanliness on the data. It's really important, and the transactional data. You cannot do a lot without having this prerequisite. So first thing is clean and structure and automate your data processes, and then digitize your processes. That's basically it. Yeah, that's what comes to mind.
Yeah. By the way, I'm still using Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, because I love them. Sometimes
it's very flexible.
Yeah, and I know even big companies they use Excel a lot because it's hard to replace anything. But for example, on our website we create simple tools that can help optimize the process. For example, without Excel, but we can't replace anything. Sometimes it's a must-have. Okay, Jean, I have the question about, let's imagine you started from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills. What will you do today to learn more about supply chain?
Wow, if I start from scratch, what would I do to learn more about supply chain? Well, there are a number of certificates and training about the supply chain management topics. The famous organization that is doing that is called APIX, doing a number of training. What I've seen is that there are a number of universities that have supply chain courses, and that actually I did apply mathematics in my studies, and I touched on supply chain topics, but in the end, it's a job that you really learn when you're working, I would say, and that's what I've seen.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what comes to mind. So there is a number of MOOC, and there is certificates, there is training that you can have on supply chain. Supply chain basics training. It's available. If you want to do a career in supply chain, basically you have three big paths. If you want to do a career on supply chain, you can work for a company. I don't know, for example, Shell. You work at Shell and you work in supply chain at Shell, and you have a number of positions there. And supply chain is about purchasing, but also planning. It's also customer service. It's logistics. It's a number of things. You have the consulting path. There is a lot of supply chain consulting firms that are doing consulting, that are helping companies optimize their supply chain. And there is software, the software path. That's the three way to work in supply chain. If you want.
Yeah, nice. Okay, Jean, tell what is your unique selling proposition. For example, we have you have competitors. I think all businesses have competitors, direct, indirect, it doesn't matter. We have them. But give a strong reason to use your software, and let's talk about money. How much this cost, and what do you think, how much we can save by using your software?
It's a great question. So first, our USP. So we are unique because we tackle the problem of inventory optimization of raw materials and components for manufacturers in a very different way than the traditional way. Traditionally, manufacturers do the replenishment of their raw material using a process that is called MRP. So you forecast the goods of phones like that, and you would do some calculations to get the number of screens that you need to replenish, basically. This is a very deterministic process, and this process is creating a lot of instability and a lot of bad performance in the supply chain. The difference with us is that we are going to tackle the problem differently, and that what we are going to do is doing a forecast directly on the screen and trying to do a probabilistic assessment of what is going to be the delay of shipments of the screens, and when also what is going to be the demand of the screens. And that is very unique. It's a very unique way to tackle this problem, and it's leading to superior performance. Linked with the fact that we have built an app and a front end that is aimed toward that goal, we have a very unique proposition for this topic about optimizing inventory of raw materials and components. And that's in a short summary of what we do. I know it's a bit techy, so if you want to know more, I'm happy to jump into a call to explain a little bit more. But on that fact, we're unique because superior performance and dedicated to raw material and components replenishment. And so cost and savings. So usually, if I take the general case, let's say we are working on with a manufacturer that has about 10 million of inventory of raw materials or components. Usually, what we see is that we are able to reduce with the same amount of shortages at about 20% of their inventory. So 20% of 10 million is about 2 million euros less of inventory. Usually, those 2 million euro of inventory reduction is costing for a company about 300K per year. So that's roughly the cost, and that's not counting everything else. So the very pessimistic assessment is that if a company has about 10 million euro of inventory of raw material and components, we should be able to save conservatively 300K euro or dollars, per importe, every year to this company. And so of course we are trying to get our fair share of that savings.
Nice. Okay, I have the questions about I have some audience that consists from business owners. So can you tell how do you find the right people in your team, your hiring process, and how I often get the question how to find the right copywriters, the right marketers, and any other specialists who can lead your business in the right direction, who can help you grow. Share your methods, how you find the right people for your team.
That's a great question. So what I've seen is that we are kind of in a niche market. So we are on supply chain planning market. So we are on a niche market. So what I've seen in the past is that for certain role, all the sales, the marketing role, all the customer facing role, the standard recruitment agencies are doing a poor job because they are going to find candidates that are very far from what we do, especially for senior profiles. So what we try to do is do actually prospection ourselves. We target a few people and we send mails like we would do for customers, and we try to convince them. For I would say more technical role like software engineers and this kind of roles. Actually, it's good if they are coming from different horizons. So this is different. We manage it in a very standard way. We have a few recruitment agencies. We have also a recruiter part-time that we are using to find the right profile, depending on the number of the expertise we are looking for. But yeah, for the marketeers and the sales and the customer success and the pre-sales, for example. We are looking for very specific niche players, niche candidates, and we are more trying to hunt and chase them, looking at certain experience, at certain amount of potentially competitors or similar companies, and trying to raise their interest.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, let's talk about management. How to manage a team, your process. Do you have a lot of meetings or you just give them tasks? Any insights about
that? Yeah, so I mean, I'm a strong believer into proactivity and giving a lot of flexibility to the team. So that's what I'm trying to do every day. So I'm not a big lover of meetings and
yeah, me too.
So no, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give clear goals and communicate clear expectations to the people I have in my team. I'm trying to be here to help if they face issues and see if I can help them solve those issues. I'm trying to push them to come up with a plan and be proactive and making sure that things are happening and moving. But then I'm also trying to let them find their own solutions and find a way forward to the problems. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I think recruitment is very, very important and very key. So what we have, I think we have a great team. We have very, very good team with excellent people. but we happen to make mistake in the past. And so when you know and you see that there is a mistake that you did when you recruited some certain person after 2-3 months, then if it doesn't work after 2-3 months, it will actually never work. So it's better to stop as soon as possible. And usually we do that in a very collaborative way, because if it doesn't work in one way, usually it doesn't work in the other way. So you stop quite fast, and you retain a team of really excellent people, and then you can have a very performant team. That's what I've seen, and it works pretty well for us.
Yeah, great. Specialists, companies, they are good with hiring and firing, because sometimes, it happens. You don't know exactly, but time will show. Yeah, I agree with that. Jean, I have the final question. Your prediction about the future in supply chain, how automation will impact the process, and how companies can adapt today for this future.
It's an awesome question. So my personal belief is that companies are interconnected physically. They are buying goods to certain suppliers and selling goods to customers. All the processes that are happening in that flow are very manual at the moment, very transactional. They send mails to pass orders. They communicate by phone or by emails with suppliers or with customers to communicate delays and whatever. My belief is that at certain point in time, we'll go toward what we call an automated, if you want, supply chain, or an automated digital supply chain twin. In the end, the flow of goods will be completely automated across companies. So you will be able to balance all the stocks, all the inventories, all the flows across a very extended supply chain. It's a bit like the automated car driving, if you want. Because everybody is conducting the car now, there is a lot of accidents that are happening. And with this automation, you can foresee a future where there is way more accident, way more efficiency, and it's not as sensitive as car driving. It's you're not. So it's something that software can provide and can do. To do that, you need to break the silos in between companies. You need to do a certain number of things, but that's certainly the future. At certain point in time, there will be some kind of automation backbone across all companies that will be able to position the goods in the supply chain, and someone not being part of that will be an underperformer compared to someone that will be part of this. It's a massive work. It's a massive future. I mean, it's a massive achievement to have that in place. But that's certainly the future, because the gains will be huge in terms of reduction of waste, lead times of delivery, in terms of cost overall of supply chain management. So that will be the future. But a lot of things needs to happen to make it a reality. And so let's see.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for a moment when a drone will bring my item to my house.
Yeah.
So I know companies are working on that. So it will be great to get the first product from
I'm not even speaking about robotical, transaction, carrying the goods. I'm only speaking about the automation of the flow of information, right? So it's like even simple things like ordering something to a supplier is crazily not automated at the moment. It's really I have an Excel file. I'm trying to compute how much I need to order. I'm going into my ERP. I'm entering my quantity. I'm creating a PO. I'm sending it to my supplier. My supplier look at it. He's putting it in his production plan. He's saying, you know what? It's not possible to do it today. I will need to do it next week. So you go back to your plan. You change it. You go back. You do the back and forth. At some point, your supplier is telling you, shit, I have a delay, and so you need to rechange. And this is really the process. Like, it's so inefficient and creates so much in it waste. So this can be automated for sure.
You know, that's why Bill Gates is hiring lazy people, because, you know, when lazy people get the process, they are looking for ways how to simplify and improve the process.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, that's a great way to use software, you know, automation. I use a lot of different tools because of saving my time. Yeah, love it. Okay, Jean, it's a big pleasure to get my show, to learn from you. Tell our audience how they can reach out to you, learn more about you, follow you.
So you can reach me on LinkedIn. You can find my name. I think I'm the only one with my first name and surname, so you will find me easily.
Yeah.
Second is you can write me a mail. So my mail is jbc@fluidity.com, and that's it. And happy to answer all your questions.
Nice, guys. You can find all these links in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for the time. A big pleasure. So valuable, guys. Yeah, I recommend 100% to follow Jean-Baptiste because you can see a lot of value. Okay, guys. Love you. See you.